Welcome to the Cedar Falls regular City Council meeting this December 16, 2019. I'll now call this meeting to order and ask for a roll call from Madam Clerk, please.
Miller.
Here.
DeBoer.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Blanford.
Here.
Dira.
Here.
Wieland.
Here.
Green.
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 1, is there a motion to approve the regular meeting of December 2nd?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now I'd like to invite some awesome public servants from the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission up for a presentation, please. Welcome. Make sure that microphone's right there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. First of all, I would like to just acknowledge the rest of the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commissioners in the crowd, if they just kind of wave. We got some over here and a few that weren't able to come tonight. Secondly, I would also like to thank everyone for this opportunity to share a little bit about our highlights from the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission, because we do really appreciate this time and hope you find it's valuable. So one of our main missions on the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission is educating the community regarding discrimination as provided in our Cedar Falls Code of Ordinances. And we believe to do this, it's important to collaborate with other groups in the community, and we've built a lot of very strong relationships in the past, plus we have some new groups that we are working with. One of the groups that we work with very strongly is the Waterloo Commission of Human Rights, and many of those people attended our meeting last spring, and we had some really good discussions there. We also collaborate with our schools. We attend the Culture Fest, which Waterloo Schools help sponsor. We also have a booth at Pride Fest every year with Cedar Falls High School's GSA called SAGA, Sexuality and Gender Acceptance, and this has been a really fun experience for me because I'm part of both groups, but it really is a good experience for those folks to get to know each other and talk to each other and find out some different issues on LGBTQ things. One of the main things is our annual meeting, which many of you do attend on a regular basis, and we really do appreciate when you attend. Last spring we had a guest speaker, Nilvia Reyes Rodriguez, and she spoke on immigration issues in our community, which was very eye-opening, and she shared a lot of the barriers that immigrants face in our community. So we just are very fortunate to have you and I right down the road, because they also have a lot of events, and we try to attend many of those events plus other community events to make sure that people know that the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission exists and what our mission is. So just in closing, before I turn it over to Andrew, he's going to share some more things that we're doing in the future. I would like to acknowledge Colleen Soley, who is our liaison with the city, and Colleen is very responsible for our minutes, our agendas, setting up trainings from ICRC, and with our attorneys and things like that. So we just do appreciate her efforts very much.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan, Mayor, Council, City staff. My name is Andrew Morse. I'm the Vice Chair of the Cedar Falls Human Rights Commission. Before I start my comments, just want to thank you for your service to the community and the work that you're doing in partnership with the Commission. It means a lot and it makes a difference. I wanted to talk tonight about one of the most important initiatives taking place in our region, and that's with regard to economic inclusion. The Human Rights Commission has met with the mayor, city administration, and many members of the council to talk about the important role that we have as part of the Cedar Valley in rising the tide for all boats from an economic inclusion standpoint. I serve as a member of the Economic Inclusion Work Group, which is being coordinated by Grow Cedar Valley, and has many businesses, nonprofit organizations, government entities, and of course, various human rights stakeholders such as ours. And we're really rolling up our sleeves at making a difference, positive, lasting difference on economic inclusion across the region, knowing that Cedar Falls is a critical partner in our total success. What I would like to do, because we are at such an important part in the history of this work, is invite a more formal discussion with this council in the future about ways that we can partner to identify common goals and strategies where we can make a lasting difference together. And I say that building on the work that has already taken place, and invite that collaboration into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks to you both and the members. Thanks for coming this evening. I'd now like to turn things over to Director Olson for a swearing in. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we'll be swearing in Ethan Schultzen. Ethan was raised in Mobile, which is a city near Iowa, or Sioux City. He's a graduate of Woodbury Central High School. He's currently a senior at the University of Northern Iowa pursuing his bachelor's degree. He's most recently been employed while going to school as a community service officer for the Cedar Falls Public Safety Department. He'll start the academy in January, and he'll do his field training and then attend fire training or his fire academy here in Cedar Falls either in the summer of or fall of 2020.
Welcome. If you would raise your right hand for me and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ethan Schultzen,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and comply
that I will support and comply
with the Constitution
with the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Iowa,
of the State of Iowa,
the charter laws
the charter laws,
and ordinances of the City of Cedar Falls,
and the ordinances of Cedar Falls,
the rules and regulations
the rules and regulations
of the Cedar Falls Police Department,
of the Cedar Falls Police Department,
the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my position
of my position
as Public Safety Officer
as Public Safety Officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Great to have you on board. Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations and welcome aboard. Get the hug.
Next on the agenda, is there any agenda revisions, Madam Clerk?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to the special order of business, item 2 is a public hearing on a proposal to take action on a petition requesting the recreation of the College Hill SMID. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any written communications filed with the city clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Before we ask for public comment, I think I'm asking Karen Howard to give us a little background.
Yes, good evening. The College Hill Partnership has submitted a petition to the city for the renewal of the College Hill Self-Supported Municipal Improvement District, or SMID. The purpose of the creation of the College Hill SMID is to provide funding to pay the ongoing administrative and support costs for the College Hill Partnership, which helps to promote and support existing businesses, area improvements, and healthy growth and development consistent with the goals of the College Hill Business District. The requirement for approval of a SMID is support by petition from a minimum of 25% of the unique property owners, representing a minimum of 25% of the property valuation of the district. The partnership submitted signatures representing from over 40% of the total number of property owners, which represents over 50% of the total valuation. So their petition exceeded the minimum threshold for renewal of the SMID. It should be noted that self-imposed tax will remain the same at $2.75 per thousand of net taxable value. Will begin collection fiscal year beginning July 1st and extending until June 30th, 2025. On November 20th, the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the petition and found that it met the state code, so recommends approval. And I believe that Catherine Sogard is here tonight representing the College Hill Partnership if you have any questions about the petition itself.
Thank you, Karen. I will open up the public. If you want to come up, Catherine, now. Oh, I'm sorry, if we have any questions. I thought, that's fine. No, we're good. Anyone else for public comment on this hearing? Hearing and seeing none, I'll declare the hearing closed, and item 3 is pass the ordinance recreating the College Hill SMID upon its first consideration. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second requires a roll call vote.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 4 is a public hearing on a proposed agreement for private development with Prestige. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Written communications with the city clerk.
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Again, before public comment, turn it over to Shane Graham on some description of this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. We have before council tonight is an agreement for private development between the city and Prestige WW LLC. They recently purchased a building at 203-205 Main Street. It's the former St. Vincent de Paul building. It's a 3,600 square foot retail space on the first floor, and then some upper floor. The upper floor will be renovated for some dwelling units. Per the typical policy for incentives, in the downtown area, we look at a minimum investment of $200,000, and then per that, they would look at getting a 5-year tax rebate. The agreement before council tonight, the developer is investing a minimum of the $200,000. I think it's about $350,000 plus to renovate that first floor and second floor. And so per the policy, staff would recommend approval of the agreement.
Thank you, Shane. I will open up for public comment. This public hearing. Hearing and seeing none, I'll declare the hearing closed. Item 5 is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an agreement for private development. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further from council? Requires a roll call vote, please.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 6 is a public hearing and a proposed agreement for private development with River Place Properties. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any written communications filed with the city clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Again, before public comment, I think you're up again, Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another downtown agreement similar to the one that council just acted on. This is for River Place Properties 2, which purchased the property at 302 Main Street, it's the former Wells Fargo building. They tore that building down and now are looking at building a new 3-story office building there. Again, this meets the minimum requirements for incentives for the downtown district. They're looking at an investment of about $7.5 million, which is an increase over the threshold of the $200,000 minimum that we look for. So again, staff would look to approve this as well.
Thank you, Shane. Once again, open up for public comment and public hearing. Hearing and seeing none, item 7 is resolution approving and authorizing execution of an agreement for private development. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and second. Requires a roll call vote.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 8 is a public hearing and a proposed agreement for private development, conveyance of certain city-owned property to the vault. Is there a motion to receive and file proof of publication?
So moved. Second.
Been motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any written communications filed with the city clerk?
I have no written communications on file, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Shane, looks like you're up for a third time, my friend.
Last one, I promise. This one is for a development out in the West Viking Road Industrial Park for a new lot on approximately 2.7 acres. The developer would look to build a 27,000 square foot building with a minimum valuation of about $1.5 million. So per the policy on tax incentives and land donation, this meets all of the typical city policy, so staff would look to recommend approval.
Thank you, Shane. I will open up for public comment for the public hearing. Hearing and seeing none, declare the hearing closed. Item 9 is approving and authorizing execution of an agreement for private development. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion second. Anything further from council? Requires a roll call vote, please.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Before we move on, I'm just going to take a brief recess, I believe. You're still having difficulty, Councilman Wieland?
It's corrected.
Okay, it's corrected now?
Yep.
Yep, we're good now.
Okay, thanks, Jen. So we'll end the recess. We'll continue on. Next item is the consent calendar. These items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests not to be polled for such discussion. Any requests from the council? From the public? Tonight I will forego summarizing and simply ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar, please.
So moved. Second.
The motion second. Anything further from council? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Consent calendar passes. The resolution calendar is next. It will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion, unless someone from the council or public requests not to be pulled for such discussion. Any such requests from council? from the public? Once again, I'll forego summary of the consent calendar and ask for a motion to approve the resolution calendar, please.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion second. Anything further from council? Requires a roll call vote, please.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item, is there a motion to allow bills and payroll?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Been motion second. This too requires a roll call vote, please.
All voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next item, does council have any items for referral this evening? Hearing and seeing none, before I ask council for some updates, I do have 3 staff updates. So if I may ask Director Olson for his update, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I would just like to talk a little bit about an academy graduation we had on Friday. We had 2 of our public safety officers, Josh Getz and Morgan Hoft, graduate from ILEA on Friday. They'll begin their field training. Actually, they're beginning it today. They'll have a 14-week field training program. The ILEA Academy is 16 weeks. Then this fall, they'll enter into a fire academy class for about 5 weeks. You know, the last few years, we've had many graduate with awards and honors from the Law Enforcement Academy, and this time is no exception. Morgan Hof was elected as a class lieutenant for her academy class, which makes her responsible for a lot of administrative duties with her class. So it's we always want to share that you know, with the council and the public when we have some excellent candidates that do some great work and receive extra recognition at the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy.
Appreciate that. Seems like every class we have folks, either physical or administrative or leadership.
Top of the class. Yeah, we've had a lot lately. It's really been an honor to see that.
Awesome.
Pretty exciting.
Great. And Chase, you have an update on Cedar Heights and
Yeah, thank you,
Green
Mayor.
Hill.
I just wanted to give a brief update on the Cedar Heights Drive reconstruction project. As you're aware, that we're currently in the design phases of that project, and that includes some improvements to the intersection at Cedar Heights Drive and Green Hill Road. Late last week, I was notified from the Iowa Department of Transportation that we will be receiving a traffic safety improvement grant in the amount of $500,000, and that will be in excess to our federal funding that we currently have for that project of $2.9 million. So,
awesome. Thank you. And last, Jennifer, on some parking.
So I just wanted to give a brief update about some things that have been going on with parking. As most people know, we actually completed a study for downtown and College Hill over this past year. But specifically about downtown, some things that we've been doing to improve parking is we have added 31 additional free parking stalls downtown. We also provided a variety of 2-hour, 3-hour, 24-hour, and 15-minute pickup. I think Denny actually has a map up there that shows the different parking in the downtown, and it's color-coded. And if you're ever interested in the map, it's online, or you can sure let us know. And part of what we did with the parking study, too, is we try to do a lot of information and get a lot of that out. And so actually restaurants had these little tent things they could put on the tables. We actually did some things on Channel 15 and our Currents to really try to get the message out. We also, I know the mayor was successful in working with Viking Pump to get a shared parking area with them. And so that created additional spaces as well. We also heard about the need for maybe some overnight parking in downtown. And so that's one of the things we created as well. And really through that study, the consultant had a lot of recommendations, and we've been trying to implement them all. One of the other things that we've been working with Community Main Street, we actually meet twice a month with them, is we've tried a Met Shuttle to see if that would help, kind of a trial basis to see if that was successful. So we've been doing that. And then really other things that have been implemented are as of September 1st, approximately, then we started the enforcement on the evening and Saturdays that the consultant recommended. And then we'll be getting into the paid lots here, and really we'll be doing the pay stations, the mobile app. And if I had to guess, that's probably going to happen kind of spring time, I guess. So that's just a little bit about what's going on parking, and just not only downtown, but we do meet once a month with College Hill Partnership to go through some parking things and things that are going to change there. That were the recommendations. So I guess that's keeping us busy with parking.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Any further updates from council? Go back to you, folks. Hearing and seeing none, next is the public forum. Speakers will have up to one opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics germane to city business. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak this evening? Catherine, I didn't know if you wanted to do the public hearing or here, so I figured we'd work it out.
Sounds good. So today, well, thank you for your support on the SMID. That really does help our organization and College Hill and keep a really great focus for the Hill and economic development on the Hill. But I think I sent over a photo for you guys to take a look at. And one thing that I've felt so fortunate over the last 2.5 years being a part of the partnership, being from Cedar Falls, is how much the neighbors and how much the businesses care about the community and the larger of the whole. So there's a picture up on your screen, and many of the College Hill businesses, and actually many of the businesses in the community, work with groups to facilitate philanthropy that supports the local community and supports Iowa in general. And so one thing I would like to kind of get across is this is at Social House, and they had a couple weekends ago an event that this is the 3rd year of their event. It's called Holidays. And what they do is they raise money during kind of a festival during the holidays to raise money for gifts that they can purchase for the Iowa Children's Hospital. So this year, which is really awesome because of the dip in enrollment, they raised the most money that they have raised in the last 3 years, which was over $5,000. In the last 3 years, since they've run this event, they've raised over $10,000 for gifts for kids, which especially during the holidays when you're sick, it's, not the easiest of times. But I think this is a really cool thing that shows you that a lot of the businesses in the community want to give back. And so one thing that you can do as citizens is support those businesses that give back. And it's not just this event. Many of the College Hill businesses give back throughout the year. Because we're in so close proximity to the university, a lot of them participate in supporting a lot of the student groups, fundraising for those student groups, whether it is a cash donation or even just a $5 or $10 gift card that they give to raffle off or for gifts. Many of the College Hill businesses participate in this, and not just College Hill businesses. I know a lot of downtown businesses and many businesses throughout the Cedar Valley do these wonderful things. And I feel so honored to be involved in an organization that gets to see this every day. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention. So next time you're out, remember that a lot of those small businesses do give back in many ways that are like this, with a $5,000 gift at a time, and sometimes it's just a $5 gift card. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone further for public comment this evening? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address.
My name is Corrine Brown, and I live at 875 Mocker Road. Excuse me. For the last 4 years, I have never set foot into the council chambers on a Monday evening, but I've watched every council meeting from my home. You can ask me anything about chickens, fireworks, or the color pink. I consider myself an educated and informed citizen of the city. Tonight, I'd like to say a few words reflecting on the many things that have happened in the city of Cedar Falls over the past 4 years. In 2016, the city of Cedar Falls was faced with a flood threatening historic downtown in North Cedar. Citizens from every corner of the city and surrounding communities rallied to come at a moment's notice and spend hours sandbagging and save downtown. A year later, the Civil Corps of Engineers gave permission to the city to build a levee. This was the direct result of city leadership petitioning and working with our 2 U.S. senators and congressmen. In 2016, construction began to renovate University Avenue. City leadership walked the university corridor several times, meeting with business owners, answering questions, and assuring the future of the project. In October 2019, the city of Cedar Falls, with Foth Engineering, was one of 3 finalists in a global competition, highlighting innovative practices in design, engineering, and construction. And it was no surprise that Foth and the city were named winners. In 2017, Slumberland moved into the old Hy-Vee, creating a use of the infill location. Ashley Furniture decided to invest in the city of Cedar Falls and build a distribution center in the industrial park. And in 2020, Ashley Furniture will further invest and build a retail store in the old Yonkers building at College Square Mall. In 2019, Fairway and Quickstar broke ground, regardless of concerns from too much traffic, gasoline leaks into the groundwater, and too bright of lights. Today, Quickstar and Fairway are welcomed by the residents on the south side of town. This past year, city leadership heard about the lack of parking downtown. Personally, I think not having enough parking spaces might be a good problem to have. That means that the citizens are taking advantage of privately owned, non-franchised shops, shopping local, and making downtown not only a destination, but a unique shopping experience. In 2019, city leadership secured over 100 additional parking spots because the citizens asked. In 2016, city leadership met with two passionate moms wanting to create a unique park for all to play. Funding needed to be secured, and the city committed to gift the land for the park and promised to work together to see the moms' dreams come true. In September 2019, a Place to Play Park opened its doors for the first time, removing the barriers, creating a place for kids just to be kids. In 2017 and 18, the city leadership saw a decline in professional firefighter personnel for the city of Cedar Falls. City leadership responded and replaced the employees who left, as any employer would need to do. During the past calendar year, city leadership has been under constant criticism for the implementation of a council-approved public safety model. The Director of Public Safety continues to execute the directive given to him by the council. It seems as if Facebook has become the new press release of misinformation. Sometimes we think we know what we don't know. I wasn't so sure about roundabouts, but now I like them. I like to get a parking spot right on Main Street, but I understand to fully experience downtown, I might need to walk a block or two. I also like Fairway on the south side of town, and I believe the city and the citizens of Cedar Falls are safe. In 4 years, the biggest lesson I have learned about city business is that there are always two, sometimes three, or more sides to every story. Here's the side of the story that you don't know these past 4 years. Many sleepless nights, interrupted conversations about our day with, I have to take this call, evenings away from his family, serving on many commissions and boards, praying daily for the city, its leaders and citizens, numerous emails, each receiving a reply regardless of request or complaint, and graciously doing the job that he signed up for and was elected to do. And most recently, the post on Facebook that questions one's character and integrity from people who have never reached out to hear the other side of the story. Social media and the people who post and quickly like have lost the fundamental rule of making your mother proud with your words and actions. I'd like to close with something my 19-year-old daughter wrote on November 6th on social media. She states, "This election has taught me so much about the power of words. Please think before sharing opinions about others. They're not just public figures. They are fathers and husbands with families, and they have feelings. You don't know who's reading your post, and there are always two sides to every story." I would challenge the citizens of Cedar Falls to not forget about the city initiatives that were thought of as wrong, or we didn't agree with, or that city leadership didn't listen. Look at where the city of Cedar Falls is today. Businesses want to invest, and citizens win in the long run. The city is thriving, a destination, and we are safe. Cedar Falls is a great place to live, work, and play. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the mayor, my husband, city council, city staff for all that you do, for your vision for the city, and for the countless hours you spend working for the citizens. I wish the best for Mayor-elect, city council, city staff as you lead Cedar Falls into the future. There will be challenging days and you will need to make unpopular decisions, but always rest knowing that Cedar Falls is a great city with much potential and opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. I suppose there's no comment from council after that previous speaker. Anyone else for public comment this evening? I'm going to close the public forum portion of this and say a few words myself, and I believe there are a couple other council members as well. So I'd just like to say, although my lovely wife stole most of my thunder this evening, I did want to say it was a pleasure serving Cedar Falls the past 4 years. I want to thank those on city council I've served with. Thank you for your teamwork, your thoughtfulness, and your approach in making Cedar Falls a better city. And thanks to staff throughout our great city for actually implementing so many initiatives given to them by the decision makers, City Council, and actually performing the groundwork and making our city the envy of Iowa. And finally, to the citizens for allowing me the honor and privilege of serving as your mayor. So thank you, and God bless. Now I turn over, I think Councilman Whelan would like to say a couple words as well.
I've been on council for 16 years. Thank you. He always does that. I forget to turn it on. I started off in council at a time when Walmart was going to put their store on Green Hill in South Main. And some neighbors from Eldorado Heights came over and saw me and said, "Do you have any ideas?" And so I went to their meetings, and I certainly did have ideas. I had had the same problem in Fridley, Minnesota. A big developer wanted to put a high-rise apartment in the middle of a residential area and rezone the residential area. 250 people showed up for the meeting, and council finally rejected that. The people of Cedar Heights were also instrumental in defeating a Walls and a Walmart on Green Hill and South Main. And that's as it should be, because we already had a pre-assigned area for it. Frank Dara knows it. He was on P&Z at the time, and we had developed areas of the city where things should go. So that's how I got started on city council. Somebody came knocking on my door from that area and says, "We'd like you to run." And I said, "If you'd like me to run, form an election team and raise some money and I'll do it." And they did. I've run for 7 offices, but I've never sought any one of the 7. Each time, the community has come to me asking me to run, so I take great pride in that. Only won 5 out of 7, but that's a pretty good record too. I think Cedar Falls is one of the best places in this world to live. I used to go out to California to give lectures to students in the universities. And I'd tell them, if you're rich, you live on Rodeo Drive, but if you're lucky, you live in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And they would laugh, except when they looked at what Cedar Falls was all about. We are fortunate that we've had council members who are willing to take the heat on innovative ideas involving being good stewards for their money. And being a good steward for the money sometimes conflicts with what the residents want to do. Reason's simple. Government is extremely complex, and the decisions on financial matters are even more complex. But if you're going to be a good steward for the money, you take the time to do it. Been fortunate on the councils I've been on that almost unanimously they've seen the logic of weighing facts on financial decisions and making the decisions the best for Cedar Falls. That has resulted in the lowest tax increases for the city of Cedar Falls for 16 years. That's not me. That's council voting in ideas that don't waste your tax money. And it hasn't always been popular. Roundabouts, not popular until all of a sudden we won an international award and people realized anything new takes a change in behavior, and that's changed drastically. It's not only the council members I've been fortunate enough to work with, it's also the staff that's been on this city for years. I came on, Mayor Cruz was on board, Dick McAllister, forward-thinking people in Dick McAllister, and the mayor took me on as his I was his mentor, or he was my mentor, however you say that. The first time I met Cruz, he gave me 2.5 hours on how to run an election, so I appreciate that. The team that Eldorado Heights got for me gave me the right questions and the right answers. They'd ask, "What do you want to do for the city?" And I'd say, "Well, you're saying it clumsily. What if you said it this way?" And so they were pretty good at understanding marketing. And so I've been elected 4 times, and I appreciate it. But to close off, it's city staff that's doing what we ask them to do that's resulted in the lowest tax property tax increases in Iowa and the envy of every other city in Iowa that they wish they were like us. And that's a credit to all the staff members that run this organization. We're at the peak. We've been doing great for 16 years. Social media has come on board, and social media doesn't always tell the truth, but people listen to it. I would encourage you, as citizens of Cedar Falls, to keep looking for fact-based decisions in order to hold your tax rates down to where you're getting the best and most efficient value for the money you spend. It's been an honor representing you for 16 years. 4 years ago when I ran, I got done and I put my signs and getting ready to put them up in the garage. And I said, my God, if I run again, I'll be 83 years old before I get off. I think it's time I quit. Without any hesitation, I took all my signs down the dump and dumped them. So I haven't had any intent of running after the last election. Sometimes I wish I had, but I've enjoyed working for you. I'm proud of the decisions I and your council have made on your behalf that have made you the envy of every other city in Iowa. And I hope being on the peak, we build a ladder to go higher. Thank you again. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Councilman. Well said. Councilman Blanford?
Thank you. As I think back over the past 4 years, there are many moments I will carry with me forever. Cedar Falls is a successful and thriving city because of the hard work of residents and leaders who are committed to making a positive impact on this community. I would like to thank the current council, as well as council members Runchi and Tiber and Mayor Cruz. I have learned from each and every one of you, and it's been a privilege to serve with you all. I would also like to thank our city staff. What we do up here is nothing compared to what they do each and every day for our city, and I'm very grateful for that. It has been an honor to serve this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blanford. Folks, I'll now ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Thought that was appropriate.
And we are adjourned. Thank you.